Okay, so for those of you who missed the very beginning, my name is Tyler Hall. I'm a student success advisor with the Bissett Student Success Center, and I use pronouns he, him. And I'm here to welcome you to Register on Track for the Faculty of Arts and Social Science. Soon you'll all be joining us on DAL, hopefully on campus, or some of you possibly virtually if you're not able to come. And I just want to point out that Dalhousie does live on Mi'kma'ki, which is the unceded and ancestral territory of the Mi'kmaq people. And the Halifax campus, specifically where you'll be coming, is in Chibuktuk, or the Great Harbor. And we're also part of a wonderful, diverse community, and we like to acknowledge the Black African Nova Scotian communities that have been on this land for over 200 years and their legacies. And so you're coming possibly from just down the block, possibly from halfway across the world, but we're really excited to welcome you to our community. So let's get started. So as I said, my name's Tyler Hall, and I'm a student success advisor. But also I did my degree at DAL. So I did my undergraduate degree in management. And then I actually went on to do my master's of education and counseling at Acadia. I'm also a dancer. I teach dance in the city, and I also love to bake. A little fun fact of me, I got to the final round of auditions for the Great Canadian Baking Show. I didn't make it on, but I got to the top 20. So a little fun fact about myself. And the Bissett Student Success Center is really here to support all students in the Faculty of Arts and Social Science. So academic advising is one of the main things that we do. And that's probably why you're here today, to learn about course selection and building your degree. But we also have career services. So throughout your degree, if you're looking to get a job on campus, if you're looking to get a job off campus, involved with the community, help with your resume or cover letter or interview skills, we got you covered there. And coming to university can be a big change. And so studying might look a little bit different for you. And so our Studying Success office also has a lot of folks there to really help support you with learning how to write multiple choice tests and how to write notes in a lecture hall and all of those new skills that you're going to be learning. And then we also have peer advising, which is an opportunity for you to work one-on-one with students actually at Dalhousie. Although I was a Dal student, I graduated a little bit ago. And so it's definitely nice to have that current perspective. And we're going to hear from one a little later on. So Bissett Student Success Center, we got your back. And also for those who are joining any of those programs in our Fountain School of Performing Arts, they actually have a separate advising office. And so the Bissett Student Success Center is definitely here to support you with career and studying success and peer advising. But in terms of academic advising, if you've got a pen and paper, performing arts at dal.ca, anyone coming in costume studies, acting, technical theater, theater studies, or music, they've got a really great advising unit set up as well. And so make sure you're connecting in with them. We wanted to officially welcome you to DAL, and our team made just a cute little video just to welcome you all here.
Welcome to DAL. We're so glad you're here.
So that's the team at the Bissett Center, and we really are so excited that you're coming to join us. DAL and university is such an incredible experience, and we're really excited to share it. Oh, there it is again. We're so excited.
Welcome to DAL.
Nice. But while you're coming to DAL, things to think about, like, what are you getting excited about? You know, is it coming to campus? Is it living in residence? Is it meeting new people, studying, learning from professors? But also, what challenges are you anticipating? Because we're here to help set you up for success. And so thinking a little bit about what do you need so that you can be successful in your first year? And how do you plan to make the best experience out of your DAL experience? So is it joining clubs? Is it doing research, getting involved, going on exchange? There's so many opportunities to connect. And so we just want you to take advantage of that. So while we're doing all of this stuff today in degree planning, keep these things in the back of your head, because they're really going to help guide you to where you want to go. And so before we get into the registration stuff, I'm very privileged to welcome Dr. Michael Fournier, who's the Associate Dean Academic. And Michael, if you want to come on, there he is, and say a few words of welcome. Over to you.
Thank you, Tyler. As Tyler said, my name is Michael Fournier. I'm the Associate Dean Academic in the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. And on behalf of the faculty and our staff and even our returning students, I am delighted to welcome you all to FAS and to let you know how much we're looking forward to seeing you in the fall. So I have to say that while FAS saw relatively minor interruptions in its programs and course offerings in our shift to online teaching last year, we are very excited to be planning a full return to our full range of programs and course offerings in September. As you know, of all the schools in Eastern Canada, Dalhousie offers the widest range and the greatest number of options to choose from for students studying anything from the traditional arts and social sciences. I saw someone earlier in the chat post her interest in philosophy and political science, to new programs in emerging areas of study, such as Indigenous studies, and we have the imminent development of a Black and African diaspora studies major. So you can actually begin that major this coming year because it has all but been approved at this point. As Tyler mentioned, we have an outstanding School of Performing Arts, and it's in fact housed in a newly renovated arts center. It's actually across the street from the building I'm in right now. It's going to have a spectacular new concert hall, and that's nearing completion right now. And one other thing I love to plug about our faculty, we offer more options for foreign language study than any institution in the region. Everything from Sanskrit to Mi'kmaq, from Italian to Chinese, Greek to Arabic, and many other languages. So that's something you should definitely look into and consult with some advisors about. As I mentioned, our faculty members are extremely eager to return to the classroom in person teaching this fall. And as you'll see when you look at our timetable during the course selection process, we are planning to have a very high percentage of our courses in person in our traditional classroom settings. I would estimate that well over 90%. I think our faculty is one of the highest sort of percentages across the university. However, we are also retaining some of our online courses going forward. This is both to provide greater access for students who can't be here or choose not to come to Halifax, but it can also provide students who are studying in Halifax in person with some flexibility, a flexibility that really online courses can offer when you are trying to put your schedule together. In particular, when courses are asynchronous, and I'll just throw that word out there, but it basically means it's a course that's not scheduled in a traditional way, and you can do on your own time in a certain way. I have to say we've been planning for fall 2021 since last fall. Now, we normally begin discussions in September or October about what we're going to do the following year, but I can honestly say that we have never put so much thought into the decisions about the slate of courses we're going to offer in a following year. So, and one of the advantages of our thinking about our course offerings so long and so carefully is I think we really have a plan for courses this year that is more solid and less likely to be interrupted or disrupted. We really are ready, I think, and we have professors who have chosen their courses and designed the way the courses will be offered with a view to adapting to various circumstances. Nobody knows exactly what September will look like. We're very optimistic, lots of good signs, but I also think that we're in a very good position to again, go through with our plans in a way that's adaptable. And finally, I just wanted to say that I do think that I can say from my experience this year, working with so many faculty members, talking to so many students, I think that the pivot to online teaching that we went through, all of us went through, has really inspired many instructors to fundamentally rethink the way they teach, the way they design their courses. And in my view, this promises to have long-lasting positive effects for many years to come. And I think you'll start to see those effects as early as this fall. So it's a wonderful year to be starting at Dalhousie, a very exciting year, a large cohort of students. And in fact, many students who did their first year at Dalhousie last year will be like first-year students. It'll be their first time on campus. So I think the energy and excitement on campus and in classes promises to be really like nothing we've seen before. So again, I'm very happy to welcome you all. Can't wait to hear your questions today. And I'd be happy to hear any questions you might have for me, but we have a couple of experts who are ready to field your questions. So I'll turn it back over to Tyler.
Thank you so much, Michael. Yes, it's going to be a very exciting fall for sure. And so I also want to highlight a really great resource that the Faculty of Arts has done. And there's a first year page specifically for all of you. At the end, within 24 hours, once I get the recording all formatted properly, I'm going to send an email and a link here. But this is a great way just to learn a little bit about what some of the opportunities are and what it means to be a first year student coming into the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. And so getting to know your campus is definitely an important part, but because I'm not a current student, I think there's a better person that can answer this. So I'd like to bring up now Eniola, one of our peers, just to talk a little bit about their experience on campus.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me, Tyler?
Sounds great.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Eniola Bakari, and my pronouns are she and her. I recently graduated from Dalhousie from Bachelor of Science program in statistics. So not arts, but science this time, and a minor in neuroscience. Over the years, I've been a part of a number of societies, and they're led by students and also residence councils. If you guys have any questions regarding that, please type them in the Q&A and I'll try and answer. I've also been a tour guide at DAO from 2019 to last year. So it's a great time to meet new students coming to Dalhousie. So you might have seen me around there. And also together at DAO, I've been a student mentor in the last year, stroke this year, and I will talk more about that later on. And currently, I'm a peer advisor at the Bissett Student Success Center. So Tyler here is my wonderful co-worker, and I've been doing that for close to 2 years now. For my program, as you can tell, my favorite course is Stats 1060. It's called Intro to Statistics, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm a math fiend, if I could say. But yeah, and my advice for incoming students is to check your DAO email. I can't overemphasize this enough. You want to set up your DAO email, check it periodically, get involved and engage in events. There are lots to choose from at DAO. So regarding Dalhousie's community and culture, there are a lot of topics to cover, but I'm just going to pick two here. The first one, I'll talk about societies. Like I mentioned, I've been a part of many societies at Dalhousie. There are over 400 clubs and societies to choose from. So hopefully you find something that will be a right fit for you. But in case there's nothing that is specific that you really want, you can also start your own. So that's the great thing about societies. You can start your own club, your own society. And if you have any questions about that, just put them in the Q&A. Another thing that I can mention here is on-campus employment. There are a bunch of opportunities that DAO offers for part-time work that students can engage in. Like I mentioned, I was a tour guide, so I did that part-time. I would have tours like during the weekends or after my classes, during the day, and it was really fun. It kept me moving. I was also a student mentor for Together at DAO, and I'm a peer advisor, which I go through like the on-campus employment program. So there are tons of part-time opportunities and volunteer opportunities that you can find at DAO. But yeah, thank you.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Eniola. And so you might be like, okay, I signed up for registration. I haven't heard anything about registration. Well, all of these other aspects are so important to your university degree that you want to keep those in mind while you're building your courses, because they're all going to become part of your university experience. And so let's, now that we've had an idea of what it's going to sort of look like a little bit, what are some opportunities, let's dive into registration, the reason you signed up. So before you start, this website right here, write it down, get a tattoo of it. Most important website you will need for registration, dal.ca/registration. And I've got it opened right here just so I can give you a quick little tour. It lives under academic support, and it's a 4-step process to register. And so all the steps that we're going through today, whether it's finding a course planning worksheet, whether it's accessing the timetable, or whether it's actually adding courses, you can find all of that information in these 4 steps. We also have a link to register on track. So if you want to watch the recording of this session, it'll be posted there. And there's also 4 quick little videos that are going to explain everything I'm going to go over in the next 30 minutes, but really nice and quick. And so this website is going to be super key for your navigation of our registration system. And so you've got it written down, dal.ca/registration. Now that you've got that, it's time to actually start going. So step one before you begin, these are just some basic housekeeping things to allow you to actually register. So you need to pay your $200 admission deposit to confirm your seat. You have to set up something called your net ID and your password. And so this allows you to log into your online portal or Dal Online. You're going to set up your email, which Eniola very wisely said that you should be checking all the time. And if it's not an email you check, just get it forwarded to one you do. You will get so much great information from that email. So make sure you're subscribing. Bookmark any important dates that you may have that may be coming up. And then we also have a new student checklist as well. So these are just things to get started before you even begin. And so now you've got all that set up, it's time to find your courses. And so these are things to think about when you're looking for your courses. Arts has so many different areas, like Dr. Fournier was saying, there's those traditional areas, but then there's also these new and innovative degrees that they're coming up with. And so thinking about what actually interests you is really important, because in arts, you have so much choice and flexibility. You can build so many different types of degrees. You're also going to be picking when your classes are, what times they're at, and so what kind of learner are you? Are you someone who likes early mornings? Do you want them all back to back? How do you want to structure your day? Do you need a lunch break? Do you need a break between every class? And so these are all important things to think about when you're choosing your courses. There's a little bit of confusion sometimes about full-time and full course load. And so Dal talks in credit hours and courses. So generally each course at Dal is 3 credit hours. And that's because you have it 3 times a week for an hour generally. And so minimum of 9 credit hours, or about 3 courses, you're actually considered a full-time student. But a full course load is 15 credit hours or 5 courses. And so a lot of folks often say that a degree is 4 years. You know, I'm going to do a 4-year degree. Well, in order to do a Bachelor of Arts in 4 years, you need to take 5 courses every semester or 15 credit hours. That being said, though, so many students are taking 5th-year summer classes, and so you don't have to be a full course load student. Full-time does allow you to get a student loan, and it does allow some things with study visas if you're international. So if you're thinking of going below full-time, definitely check with an advisor. But that's just a little difference between those 2 terms. And so again, thinking of the length of your degree, you know, how difficult do you think these courses are going to be? Maybe you need to take a break. Do you have any community commitments? And even though, like Dr. Fournier said, most of our classes will be on campus, there are some options for online. And so thinking about how comfortable are you studying online? And given our past year, it might be varied, but you also might not want to do that again. But also thinking about internet access. If you're not living on campus, do you have access to the internet, a quiet learning space? These are all things to think about. In a degree, there's sort of 3 main components. And so this is for a single major. And so a quarter of your degree is going to be general degree requirements. So these are things every art student needs no matter what. About a third to a half of your courses are going to be those core courses in your subject. So if you're doing a philosophy major, they're going to be in philosophy. If you're doing French, they're going to be in French. And then those gray section, those are actually opportunities for you to take electives, and electives can be in absolutely anything you want. So some students choose to have a more well-rounded degree where they take courses in a bunch of different areas, or some concentrate those electives and do maybe a second major. So focusing on 2 areas, or a minor. And majors and minors, these are things to keep in the back of your head, but you don't need to put a lot of thought into them right now. That's more of a second year decision, but just know that there's lots of options to structure a degree. What we're really looking at, though, is those general degree requirements. These are things that are good to get out of the way in your first couple of years. So everyone has to take a writing requirement. It's a course that emphasizes writing and essays. Language requirement, and this is a language that you don't already speak, or don't speak fluently, I should say. Humanities, social science, and science. And so these are the things that hopefully you can get checked off in your first year or so. And so in step 2, like I mentioned, there was those course planning worksheets. And so I'm just going to go back to the website under step 2. In your first year, you can find courses you need to take using our course planning worksheet, and it'll take you to all the different worksheets, and you'll choose arts, and you'll see we've got one for arts, but we've also got one for costume studies, and some of those other Fountain School ones are on their way. So just again, check in with the performing arts folks for that. But this will lead you to the course planning worksheet, and this really helps you structure your first year. Now you'll see there's no specific requirements. So it's not like you need to take English 1000 and history 1020. It's just a writing class, humanities, social science. And so this is where you can get really creative and build that degree. We also recommend taking a first year interest group. So these are 0 credit hours, which means you don't need to pay for them, but you don't get credit. And it's an opportunity for you to connect in with a group of other students who are interested in different subjects. And there'll be more information coming about that. But on the course planning worksheet, it's not just this chart, don't worry. It's 4 and 5 pages long. It talks about, okay, what is a writing requirement? And it actually gives you some specific courses. So maybe you want to take creative writing 1030, or maybe you want to take performance 1000 and one of performance 1001 and 1002. And so this is opportunities for you to start going through and seeing what those look like. And so let's just dig into that program worksheet a little bit more. So there's that lovely little page. We've got the writing classes, but then it goes down and it explains what is a humanities, what is a social science, what is a science, what languages do we offer, what is an elective, what are first year interest groups. And so it's all contained in this document. Now, my goal today is not to have you to be an expert in course selection by the time this is over. This is to start introducing you to the tools and the resources you can use to begin to understand this. And so take some time, grab your favorite beverage, put on some music, fuzzy pajamas, whatever, sit down and really go through this sheet, because this is going to give you the foundation of how to pick your courses. But then also know if anything comes up and you're feeling a little lost, there are so many folks on campus that are here to support you before and after registration opens. And you'll get lots of emails and phone numbers and contact info. So just know you're not alone, but this is what these course planning worksheets do. And so let's say you've gone through and you've chosen some general areas. So maybe you say, okay, my humanities, I want to take a philosophy, and I know my language, I want to take French. Well, now you actually have to start building your schedule and finding out, okay, what French courses are there? What philosophy courses are there? And this all lives on our timetable. And so this is where you're really going to start asking those questions. Do you want your classes back to back? Do you have time for breaks? There's generally 3 sections, up to 3, I should say, in a course. And so there's the lecture component. So a lecture is generally what you think of as a first year university class. They're larger, they're professor led, and it's more listening and taking notes. There are also labs, and these are actually a subsection of a lecture. And so you'll have a lecture and you might have a lab with it. And these are more hands-on learning, and they're generally found more in the science classes. And then there are also tutorials, and tutorials, same thing, they're a subsection of the lecture. And this is what you're going to see a lot in arts classes. And this is an opportunity for you to discuss with a teaching assistant a little bit more about the material. And so maybe your main class will have 150 people, but your tutorial might only have 30. And so you're still going to get smaller interactions, even though you're a first year student. And so this is what you're going to use to register. And so I know there's a lot going on. We're going to break it down. So we're going to go back to dal.ca/registration, and we're on step 3. We're creating our schedule, and look right there, the academic timetable is the first link. And so there's lots of information about what's synchronous and asynchronous. I'm going to go through all of that, but we're going to choose 2021, 2022, fall and winter. So the timetable for next year is live. And location, it's good to put all, because there's going to be some Halifax, there's going to be some distance. And so it's just always good to get everything. Let's hit submit. Now you've got all those departments. So let's say you wrote down under your humanities that you wanted to take philosophy. Now you're going to go to philosophy and have a look at what's there. And so lots of information, but I'm going to break it down. The first thing is notes. You want to make sure that if there's a letter here, you know why. And so R means restricted. And so if we click this, This is restricted to students in the integrated science program. So if you're not in that program, you can't take this course. And so that's for you to know, okay, I wanted to do philosophy, but maybe not 1050. This column has the CRN or course reference number. And this is the number that you will need when registration opens on June 12th. So you can do all of the planning and all this work over the next couple weeks. And then when June 12th comes, you literally just type in these CRN numbers and your schedule builds it for you. So June 12th is the easy part. It's building and planning now. But the good news is you've got time to do it. And so if I wanted to take philosophy 1500, I would write down 12550. It says how many sections are. So there's just one section. And LEC stands for LEC, which means lecture. You know, this is 3 credit hours. And this says when it is. It's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now you might see an R that trips people up sometimes. R stands for Thursday because Tuesday already took T. But we know this one's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And you have to get used to 24-hour clock, 1:35 to 2:25. And it's on the Studley campus in the Henry Hicks building, room 212. So you're probably not familiar with DAL. And so the main thing I will say is if the campus is the same between one class and the next, you have time to get between your classes, even if they're back to back. And so if you're going from Studley to Studley, no worries. If you're going Studley to Carleton or Carleton to Sexton or Sexton to Studley, make sure you leave at least half an hour in between so you can walk there, but most of your classes are going to be on the Studley campus. Now it says how big the class is. So Introduction to Philosophy, it's only 85 seats. It's a pretty small first year class. There's currently no one registered because registration hasn't opened. There's 85 seats available, 0%, and it has the professor's name there, so you know who's teaching the course. Sometimes there will be notes as well. And so let's check out English because English has a couple notes and you'll see you can just scroll through here. So let's change over to English. Now you see there's note sections down here. And so this one says that English 1005 meets 1/2 of the writing requirement. Students registered in section 1 must register in T01, T02, T03, or T04. So let's talk about what that means. The rule is you need to pick one of every color. So with philosophy, there was just that one beige line. So that's all you needed. This English class has 2 different lectures and it has 8 tutorials. Now it says if you choose section 1, which is this one right here, that's on Wednesdays and Fridays, that you need to choose tutorial 1, 2, 3, or 4, which you can see is on Fridays. And you might think, oh no, but that conflicts. Well, it says right here in the notes, tutorials will not conflict with classes. Same thing, if you're in section 2, you should register for 5, 6, or 7. And again, you look, well, they're at the same time, tutorials will not conflict. And so if you're thinking of taking this class, this is when you get to start deciding, okay, do I want to do it Wednesdays and Fridays from 1 to 2:30? Or do I want to do it Mondays and Wednesdays from 5:30 to 7? And so this is when sometimes you have choice and you can start making some decisions. The other thing is if you are using fall and winter, you want to make sure you're choosing the right term. And the term can always be found up here. So you can see this is a fall class, whereas this one, English 1005, it's the same course, but it's a winter class. Another top tip is fall CRNs start with a 1, winter CRNs start with a 2. And you need to choose one of every color. So remember, you would choose one of these lectures and one of the tutorials. But in this case, section 1 tutorials 1 to 4, section 2, 5 to 8. And so these notes are really important because if you go on registration day and you don't have the right CRN pair, it's going to give you an error message. So make sure you're reading those notes. Sometimes the notes also say information about exams or other courses. And so they're really good to look at. Let's just have a look at Arabic as well. And so again, these just have single ones, so no tutorials, but let's say you're feeling excited and you're like, oh, I really want to take intro to intermediate Arabic part 2. Well, all the courses have this little triangle and that gives you a course description. And if we open it up, it tells you a little bit about the course. You also need to make sure there are no prerequisites. You're a first year student. And so for this course, you actually have already needed to complete Arabic 2021. And so if you didn't do that course, you wouldn't be allowed to register and you get an error on registration day. And so just another quick thing to think about when you're using the timetable. Again, all of this stuff I'm mentioning is all on dal.ca/registration. There's a little video that explains it. But we've talked about restrictions, the CRNs, credit numbers, how to get the course description, days, times, locations, enrollment, and professors. We've talked about choosing one of every color. So lectures, tutorials, labs actually start with a B, because again, it's like the Thursday thing. Lectures took L, so we use B for lab, but it's one of every color. Now, very few courses have a lecture, a tutorial, and a lab, but if they have all three, remember, you need to choose one of each. And so the more you play around with the timetable, I promise the more comfortable you will get with it. But just remember, use the top bar to really understand, okay, what's in each column, and things start to come a lot more smoothly. But this is what you're going to be playing around with. So we talked about course descriptions. One thing you might see is cross-listing, and cross-listing just means it's the exact equivalent. And so if you wanted to take Religious 2120, well, it is the same course as History 2990 or EMSP 2360. They're all the same course. This isn't a huge deal for first-year students, but sometimes in your upper years, if you're thinking about double majoring, cross-listings come into play. So I just wanted to let you know what that is, not something you super need to worry about. We talked about prerequisites, but I really want to talk about exclusions. An exclusion means if you take Math 1000 and Math 1215 or 1280, you can't get credit for both. And so make sure you're checking all your course descriptions to make sure you don't have too many exclusions. They're not super common. And in August, we run a report, and any student who has an exclusion will send you an email, just so you know, but it's just something to keep in mind. So again, this is like information coming at you through a fire hose. I know it's a lot to take in, but you've got weeks to play around with it. And trust me, I'll tell you how to get in contact with our office for more support. So just take some deep breaths and yeah, enjoy the registration process. It's really exciting because you get to build your schedule. It's not like high school where they tell you exactly what to take. You get to decide. And with over 4,000 different courses, you've got an opportunity to study really exciting subjects from really exciting people. If you are going to be doing an online course, you'll hear the term synchronous or asynchronous, and Dr. Fournier already talked a bit about them. Synchronous courses means you have to sign in at that specific time, whereas asynchronous, they don't happen in sync, I guess. So you can sign in at any time and work at your own pace. And some have a combination of two. And so this philosophy course was online and asynchronous, and you can see there's no days or times. Whereas this economics course was on Wednesdays and Fridays, and it was synchronous. This course had synchronous sessions on September 10th, October 8th, November 5th, and December 30th, but it was primarily asynchronous. This course has asynchronous lectures, but synchronous tutorials. And so just some different ways you might see some combinations. We have created a blank schedule, and I'm going to include the link to it in my follow-up email. But this is a great way to schedule your classes. It's a fillable PDF, so you don't need a printer. And this helps you plan when your courses are. You can't be in two places at the same time, so you don't want to have courses overlap. And at the bottom, there's an area to record all your course reference numbers, or CRNs. It's 2 pages, so there's a page for fall and a page for winter. And remember, you're going to be registering for your whole year. So you're going to go through and plan your fall term, and then you're going to go through and plan your winter term. And so you've gone through the course planning worksheet, you've created a schedule using the timetable, you've met with an advisor and you're feeling confident, you've got all your CRNs. Now you actually have to register. So you want to make sure that you've activated your NetID and created your password. We're going to talk about your registration status through Dal Online. You've created a schedule that works for you, and you have all your CRN numbers ready to go. So this has to all be done before June 12th when registration day opens. Registration is opened all the way until September, but 90% of students register for first classes in the first kind of week. And so you don't want courses to fill up, so the earlier you do it, the better. But it's all going to be through Dal Online. And Dal Online, you can access through dal.ca/registration, dalonline.dal.ca, or if you just go to the Dal homepage, There's also a Dal Online button up here too. A plethora of ways to get to it. But you'll log in using your NetID and password. You're going to click Web for Students, and you might not see all of these. You know, if you're not an employee, you won't see the employee dashboard, but just click Web for Students. You're going to click registration. Now, we're currently going through a new update to our registration software, and so it won't look like this until around June 5th. That's when it's hoping to go live. And so you don't need to worry about logging in until at least June 5th. This you can do just a couple days before registration, but you're going to hit prepare for registration. And so you can actually do this before registration opens. You're going to click prepare for registration again. You're going to choose your fall term 2021-2022, hit continue, and you should have 3 green checks here. So your student status should permit registration. This lets us know you've paid your deposit. Your academic standing is in good standing, meaning you are a brand new student and you don't have any Fs on your record, and you don't owe Dal any money. And so these 3 green check marks you should have. You'll probably have a red exclamation mark here because it says, please register within these times. And for you, it's going to say June 12th, starting at 12 p.m. And so again, just some things to think about. Doing this around June 5th or 6th, just to make sure you're ready to go. Assuming everything's good, let's say it's June 12th and you're ready to register. It's 12 p.m. Atlantic time. You're going to go to register for classes. You're going to choose your fall term first. And when you get there, you're going to see this find classes thing. It's going to open up with find classes. Don't use that. You've already put in all the hard work and you found your classes on the timetable, because you can't access this until June 12th. And so it doesn't help to find classes after registration opens. So just ignore that. Don't pay attention to it. Hit enter CRNs because you've already done that. You're going to enter one CRN and add as many boxes as you need to get all of your fall CRNs in one shot. Do your whole semester at once. You're going to hit add to summary, and it's going to create a list of all of your courses. And you're going to notice that it says pending. Don't forget to hit submit one more time, and it'll turn them all into green check marks, or you might get a red X that has an error. Now, if you have an error, don't panic. It'll pop up and tell you what it is. So sometimes it might see that the wait list is full. That means that there's no way of getting on the wait list for that class. Sometimes you'll see that the section is full and you're number 18 on the wait list, and it'll show you how to add yourself as a wait list. Sometimes you'll see missing required course or prerequisite. So that might be that you didn't quite look at the course description closely enough. And so these are some errors you might get. But don't panic. You know, our office is going to be open so we can walk you through it on registration day if you do get any errors. But the more you plan now, the less likely this will happen. To add yourself to a wait list, though, you'll see the error preventing registration and it says section full. You just click the drop down, hit waitlisted, hit submit, and then it adds you to the wait list. You're going to check your schedule and make sure you don't have any time conflicts. So if you do, they're going to be in red and you're going to see them at the same time. So you just want to make sure all your courses are nicely spaced out. And then don't forget about winter. So once you've done all your fall stuff, you're going to hit select term at the top, choose 2021-2022 winter, add all the winter CRNs, and keep in mind, fall starts with 1, winter starts with 2. Sometimes you'll get CRN does not exist. The number one reason that happens is you're trying to add a fall course in the winter or a winter in the fall. So just make sure you know which term. And then you're registered for classes. And so there's a Dal Online Help Center, which has videos to help you with all of these things. And it's right on top of every page. You'll see a little help button. And so if you do need help on the day of, click that, and there's some videos to support you there. So I know that was a lot in about 15 minutes, but the main goal is to just give you an introduction to the system. But now we're going to talk about all the different supports for success, not just with advising and course selection, but in the university. And so I'm going to invite Eniola back, who's just going to walk us through a couple supports that'll help you along the way.
Hi, friends. All right, so here's some supports. I'm just going to highlight on that are on campus that you could always reach out to. So first we have financial services, which I think is very important, and their emails right on the screen there. So if you need help regarding like your scholarships, applying for bursaries, creating a budget, how to apply for loans, connecting with people that will help you with like financial advice, tips, you really want to talk to awards at dal.ca. For that one. And the Business Student Success Center, this is where I work currently. So we have, like Tyler already mentioned, we have our academic advisor who help you with your degree planning, course selection, and helping you with like your entire educational planning and things like that. So if you need help with like registering for courses or even like career documents, that's what I mostly do. So helping you, connecting you with the opportunities, so such as volunteer opportunities and even paid opportunities, on campus opportunities, off and on campus. You really want to talk to a peer advisor, so you can email us at advising@dal.ca and we'll connect you with the right people. We also have a career counselor and a career advisor that help you like tailor your degree to a particular career plan that you want to do. So you could set your long-term career goals regarding your degree. So if, for example, you're doing sociology and you want to eventually go into law school, you want to talk to one of our, either our career advisor or a career counselor and come up with a plan. And last but not least, we have the study skills coach, which I very, very important. So helping you to find ways to study better, to prepare for multiple choice questions, to prepare for exam memorization, tips on how to memorize things, on how to be more better, use your time better in school with your studying. So with all of this that I've mentioned, you just want to email advising@dal.ca. And if you go on dal.ca and just click on academic support, you also find our phone number. And I've been typing that in the Q&A. So if you guys really want to know like how to, the links to book an appointment with one of these people that I've mentioned, you can just send it in the Q&A and I'll send the link to you. Student Accessibility Center. So we have their email address on the screen. So if you need some access to assistive technology, exam accommodations, things like that, you need someone, a note taker for one of your courses, you want to talk to the Accessibility Center. So you want to make sure that all your accessibility needs are met, and they're going to do like a whole walkthrough with you. They have an office that is really, really nice, and amazing people who are ready to help students with like on and off campus, even in the online world. The International Center. So for students that are international students, or even people want to do like exchange and study abroad, you want to talk to the International Center. They have a lot of information about the different universities in different countries that we have, Dalhousie has partnerships with, and also like about your visa or filing taxes, or even getting your study permit, like reapply for study permits and things like that. For your English as a second language supports, we have amazing international students, advisors in our International Center, and your email is at the top, very easy, international.center@dal.ca. So tons of support for you guys here. And the Black Student Advising Center, BSAC, is your email, bsac@dal.ca. So if you need any help with your advising or even coaching, we have events. I'm part of the Black Student Advising Center. We do lots of events for students. We connect them with people even outside of Dalhousie that can help Black students to build their career, to connect, make networking easy for them, giving them tips and tricks. So there are lots of events, workshops. During the African Heritage Month in February, we have lots of things happening. So you definitely want to check out the BSAC and follow on your social media too. And the Indigenous Center. So we want to connect with students, with advisors, my apologies, who provide support for all our Indigenous students from across Canada, even North America too. So we have lots of activities that we've lined up for Indigenous students from the Indigenous Center. You want to talk to them, isc@dal.ca is their email. So lots of support for you guys here. And last but not, I don't know if this is the last one, so let me not say that. The bookstore. This is where you're going to be getting all your books, notes, everything you need, even things for residents, I believe. So you want to go on the email or I'm guessing this is their Instagram handle. There are lots of information how to get books, reserve books. You can also do, I believe it's textbooks in res, where they deliver all your textbooks before you come, even like a fridge, everything you need before you come to residence is already set up for you. So you can always contact them and you can, all your essentials, DAO gear and stuff like that. The Health and Wellness Center. So we have amazing health professionals at the Health and Wellness Center. Their phone number is right there if you want to book any appointments. So during the flu season, we get lots of people going to the Health and Wellness Center for their flu shots, things like that. We have counseling services that students can get on the same day, just have to call to book an appointment. Prescription, medical testing. We have amazing nurses, doctors, lots of amazing medical professionals there, social workers that help out, and they have tons of events they do. And I believe that is all for now.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That's awesome. So Current Students is a site that not a lot of folks know about, but if we just, again, pop over to the DAL homepage, Current Students, it's right here at the top. This is every support service in the entire university, some that Eniola mentioned, some that we didn't have time to, but this is a great place. If you're ever feeling like you need some support and you don't know where to go, this is a good place to start. So I'd just like to highlight that because it's a top tip for students. Also the DAL mobile app. So this is going to be a really great way to connect you to campus, to ask questions, meeting your classmates. There's going to be more information coming through this over the summer to your Dalhousie email. So make sure you're checking it. But it's a great app. You can even download it today. It's the DAL mobile app and start interacting with the incoming class of 2021. We also are on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. And so definitely give us a follow at DAL.BSSC. Where lots of really great content, lots of good reminders. So definitely follow us on social if you are active on that. And Eniola, if you don't mind popping back for just one more thing, I'll just get you to talk Together at DAL.
All right, so Together at DAL, I mentioned that I was part of the Together at DAL program as a senior student mentor. So it's a really great program for first year students to connect with upper year students to get involved, explore things you could do at DAL, be connected to the university community in your first semester and even before September. So it starts around June, July, August area before school starts in September. So it's a really great program. It's free and there are tons of resources on there. We have get-togethers, social events, also educational ones, things people should know about for their programs. Mostly we group students in groups of probably 20, and that's how we have selected upper year student mentors that would co-lead the teams or the groups, and then they'll get tips. You can ask them a bunch of questions about their degree, their first year, things they wish they knew they would have done in first year, so right? And you develop your skills and your knowledge of Dalhousie. Here are some events that will be happening throughout June. I would write these down if you can. They're on Tuesdays, and they're a really great time. We have some in the morning, some in the afternoon to cover different time zones. And we also have our social media, which is Together at DAL. So you can send messages, emails. So please take a screenshot of this slide. You can pick one of these times to join in June. And they're on Tuesdays, like I mentioned. But yeah, hopefully we'll see you at Together at DAL.
Yeah, and there'll be lots more information coming on how to join this and get connected, but it's a great way to meet folks without having to come to campus. And so just some important dates to finish off before I open it up for questions. June 12th is when registration opens. And like I said, most folks register very soon after it opens. And so definitely be ready with all those course reference numbers for fall and winter. We are going to be open from 11 to 4. The best way to get a hold of us on that day is by phone. We're doing drop-in appointments, but we will have a couple folks on email as well if you're not able to call in, but you're going to get a much faster answer by phone. Make sure you've paid your deposit at least 48 hours before registration. That's that $200 confirmation. Otherwise, you won't be able to register. Again, you've activated your NetID and password. The registrar's office will also be open. And so they handle the logistics of registration. And so our office is really great for supporting course choice and degree planning and, getting your schedule built. But if you're having any just error messages or your deposit isn't working or on that prepare for registration, not all your check marks are green, they're also going to be opened as well. Again, phone is going to be the best way to get a hold of them, but they are available by email. This is all coming at you in a follow-up email with the recording. So I do have that written down, but yeah, just know that there's lots of supports on campus to help you out. And so dal.ca/new students, once you're registered for classes, this is going to have information about orientation, your next steps, some checklists on how to get ready together at DAL, all that great stuff. And so starting your DAL journey at dal.ca/new students. We also have on-track programs to help support you while you're at DAL. And so if your first semester doesn't go as well and you need some help getting back on track, well, that is back on track. If you're feeling good and you just want to stay on track, well, there's stay on track. You're already registering on track, so you're already in the club. And if you are thinking of possibly taking a year off and you're still undecided, we actually have Gap on Track to help students who want to defer their acceptance, if that's something you're thinking about. One last support that I'm doing next week and the week after, we're doing Ask Me Anythings. And so now that you've learned a bit about registration, hopefully you're going to go off on your own and try out the timetable, start picking things. But I am going to be doing some Ask Me Anything events where literally you just sign on and ask me anything and about registration specifically. And we're going to answer all of those. So we're doing one on June 3rd at 7 p.m., June 8th at 10 a.m., and June 10th at 3 p.m. You can come to one, you can come to them all, but it's just a great way just to interact a little bit more with the registration process. And we're here for you. This is not the end of the registration conversation. This is just the beginning. So in that follow-up email, I'm going to give you information on how to contact the Bissett. I recommend you try and meet with an academic advisor because we're here to help you build that. This is definitely a great tool to help introduce you how to register for classes, but this isn't saying you need to do it alone. We're here to support you. That's literally why I have a job. So definitely call in. We're doing drop-ins every day, or you can email advising@dal.ca and book an appointment, whatever works for you. But don't leave it to the last minute. The earlier you can do it, the better. But just know, we're here to support you, and we're all going to get through it together. And we're so excited that you've chosen to come to DAL and part of the new DAL family. So Bethany, if you wouldn't mind just in the chat, posting a link to a survey. So we just want to know how we're doing. And if you fill it out, you're entered to win a $50 DAL bookstore card. So you can start paying for your textbooks or maybe a hoodie. So definitely fill that out if you can. And we've got about 6 minutes, but I'm happy to stay a little bit longer just to answer some questions that might have been popular. So Bethany, if you want to hit me with some of the maybe questions that need a little more explaining.
Yeah, it's been active. It's been great. We've got a lot of questions in here. A few questions from students wondering about, the online versus in-person classes, wondering, maybe why Spanish looks like it's being offered online, but French is going to be in person. So sort of broadly, how was that decision made, if you can speak to that? And then also folks are sort of wondering if a course is being offered in person, will there be an option for it to be online or vice versa? So lots of questions about that.
I was going to reach out to you, Michael, so I'm glad you've thrown on your video.
I could say a couple of things about that. We're very happy to be offering primarily in-person classes. What we essentially did was we offered instructors the same kind of choice we wanted anyone to have coming into this fall. So instructors were given the chance to determine whether they wanted to teach online or in person. And for various reasons, personal choices were made in the Spanish department. There were both personal and also kind of academic decisions made where they wanted to stay online. But I think that's a kind of an exception to our general rule. Now, the other important question that hasn't been totally, I should say, it's not simply a kind of a yes or no, but right now the plan is not to have every class available both in person and online. But that is not to say that there won't be even more online courses. Some professors might switch, make a decision to switch their mode of delivery. And I know that what will also happen is, to a certain extent, it will be necessary for students to have access to classes online in the fall if isolating because of exposures is still a thing, or because of symptoms or even a positive test. There will be a way for you to maintain your work in the class, stay on track, even if you can't be there in person. And what this might lead to is not full, what we call hybrid offering, where the course is sort of online and in person, but elements of that. So right now we are primarily going to be in person, and unless the timetable indicates that the class is online, it won't be online. But do keep an eye on that, because this timetable is still subject to some changes for different reasons. And if there are, and I should point you to, there is a, if you are looking for advising specifically related to online options because you can't be here or you choose not to be here, there is, Tyler or Bethany, do you know where this is? There is a link to essentially an online request form. I believe it's at the top of the timetable, where you can be directed, and you can sort of tell someone what your situation is, and they can hook you up with an advisor specific to your program or your interests, to show you, well, what you might do instead of doing those in-person classes. Sometimes there are online options or ways of staying on track and keeping your plan going without getting the exact courses you need. So that's in addition to all the other amazing advising help you're going to be getting. There is specific advising for people who aren't going to be in person.
Yeah, and that's going to be done through someone who works with our office. So yeah, lots of options there. Thank you, Michael. So hopefully that helped answer a little bit of your questions. But yeah, and that's something you might want to consider. If you don't want to take online learning, then maybe we move Spanish to next year, where things might be a little bit different, or maybe you take French instead. So whoever answered that, like, they're on the timetable, they understand that this is online. So like, people are figuring it out on their own. So congratulations to you who figured out the timetable. What's next, Bethany?
Yeah, lots of questions from folks who, have a lot of specific questions. They might be wondering about, if a course has a fall component and a winter component, do I have to take them together? Some folks are wondering about, how do I make sure I'm meeting the requirements for the major that I'm planning to declare? And then also folks that are looking for somebody to connect with in your office. So maybe they can't get an appointment until after first year registration is open, or they just don't know where to go. So I know that there was like 3 parts to that, but maybe if you want to just reiterate some of the high level pieces when it comes to next steps after today's
Totally.
session.
I love that you're asking these questions, because these are the things we want you to be thinking about. You're here to make intentional choices and build a degree that meets all of your goals. And a 30-minute little run through of how to use the timetable isn't necessarily going to do that. So advising at dal.ca, that is a great way to reach out. Or if you want a personal touch, I emailed you all this morning a reminder to this link. I've already been chatting with students, so shoot me an email. And if I'm not able to book an appointment for you, we can give you options for the drop-in list. So we've got lots of support to get you through this. And so those more complicated questions, that's why advisors exist, is to help you work through your goals. And so those are all amazing questions. And my answer is, come meet with us one-on-one, and we'll get you sorted out. Is there maybe one more question, Bethany?
Yeah, awesome. Some folks are wondering what they should do if the course that they want is waitlisted, if they should register in another course. And then also, sort of similar to this, transfer students who are waiting for transfer credits. They're sort of wondering if what should they do? Should they hold off? Should they talk to somebody in advising? And how can they figure out what courses they need to take?
Definitely. So let's talk with waitlisted first. If you are waitlisted, it's always good to have a backup. You can always change your classes at the last minute. And so even though registration opens on June 12th, you have the whole summer to make changes. And so let's say you don't get into that first choice class you want, definitely book another one that'll help you achieve those goals. So maybe you really wanted your social science to be psychology, but instead you took sociology. Well, stay on the wait list for psych, choose sociology. And then if you do get off the wait list, then you can just drop the one and switch into the other. That's not a problem. For transfer students, it does get a little trickier because it is case by case. And so depending on your situation, sometimes it's better to just book classes, assuming you won't get transfer credits and then change after. Sometimes it's better to book courses, assuming you'll get them. And so advising at dal.ca, book an appointment. That's probably the best way, just because it's so case by case that it's hard to really give advice. But again, read through that program worksheet, because I know I just talked generally about like, oh, choose a humanities, choose a science. The program worksheet really does a great job of outlining how to go about building a first year program. So once you read through that a little more, it might answer some of those questions, but reach out to an advisor. That's what we're here for. And then maybe one more, Bethany. I know we're over time, but I'm happy to stick around a little longer.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe if you could speak a little bit more to the majors, minors, kind of how that works, where students would go to get that information, perhaps beyond the course planning worksheet, maybe a bit of information about the timeline of when that's done, because there's a lot of questions about, how do I fit it all in? This is what I want to do. I want to be an architect. I want to go into social work, all these sorts of things. So maybe between you and Michael, you guys could speak to what the students should be looking for or what they should be doing now.
Yeah, so definitely great that you're having these suggestions now, and meeting with an advisor is always a great way to help navigate that. But I will show you, there is some information on the registration website if you really want to start doing this deep dive now. So it's under Find Your Courses. So yes, we have the course planning worksheet, but there's also the academic calendar. And so the academic calendar, your undergraduate studies, and always use the sidebar. The middle links don't always go to the same place, just how it's coded. The side menu is your best friend. So you'll choose undergraduate. And then if you scroll down, your Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, and then it lists all, maybe if I clicked it, and it lists all the different programs. So if you wanted to study a degree in history, you would click history, and then you say, okay, do you want to do honors, combined honors, major, double major? And these aren't words you necessarily need to know now. Those of you who are interested, you're ahead of the game, which is awesome. But I always recommend just checking out the major. It's a good place to start. And it'll tell you exactly what you need. So, 18 credit hours. Now, this is very university speak. The program worksheet is developed to help a first year brand new student kind of figure out. But my best advice is, if you're thinking of studying history, take a first year history. If you're thinking of studying SOSA, take a SOSA. That first year is so flexible. Even let's say you take all sociology classes and then you come to me at the end, you're like, I want to do a degree in political science. We can make that happen. There's a lot of flexibility. So I know it can be stressful, and some universities, specifically for folks in Ontario, some universities make you choose a major right away. And so sometimes you might be feeling pressure from friends or family to have a decision. We intentionally do not make you decide, so you can use that first year to really explore what interests you. And so as opposed to trying to shove your courses into a degree, let your courses build a degree. So choose courses that excite you, and then we can create a degree from that. Michael, did you want to jump in?
I just wanted to say it's a great question, because I think it's really important to keep in mind that there is often not nearly as much at stake, or the stakes aren't as high as you might think. Your first year doesn't close any options off. It doesn't determine anything. Absolutely. We give you lots of flexibility, in addition to the fact that a lot of disciplines will let you enter into second year courses even if you don't have first year sociology, they may let you in. If you're a strong student, they're going to let you into a 2000 level course and you sort of make up for the course you missed. So don't stress out about not getting a specific course or not knowing exactly what you want to focus on. In a way, as your advisors will tell you, what's really what you're doing in first year is exploring and also taking care of some requirements that are just general requirements, so that you have even more flexibility in your second, third, and fourth year.
Yeah, definitely. And again, I'm glad you're all thinking about this right now, but just, the first year is really about exploring and getting to find out what you want to study. It's a really exciting time. And so we are over time right now, but again, I'm going to email the recording and a bunch of links and resources to you within 24 hours. I have to upload it and stuff, so it takes some time. But definitely keep in contact with myself, the Advising Center, and just know you've got a couple weeks to figure this all out. So if you are feeling a little overwhelmed right now, take some deep breaths. Just know there's so many people here to support you. And we're all pros at this. We've helped students register for years. And so we got your back, and just know that. So I really want to thank everyone for taking time out of your schedules to come here today. It's been really great chatting with you all. There's those Ask Me Anything events coming up. So if you do need a little more support, please don't hesitate to reach out to there. And hopefully we'll see you all in September. Thank you to Bethany, Michael, and Eniola as well for joining me today. It's always great to have different folks here. Take care, everyone. Bye.